In a vast sun-drenched savanna where the acacia trees dotted the golden landscape, lived a little lion cub named Leo. Now, Leo was just like any other cub. He had a fluffy mane that was just starting to grow, paws that were a little too big for his body, and a roar that sounded more like a squeak. But there was one thing that made Leo different. He was afraid of, well, almost everything. A rustle in the tall grass would make him jump. The shadow of a passing vulture would send him scurrying behind his mother, and the deep, rumbling laugh of his father, the king of the pride, would make his tiny whiskers tremble. The other cubs would often tease him. Leo, Leo, scared of his own shadow, they'd chant, chasing lizards, while Leo watched from a safe distance. Leo wanted to be brave, more than anything. He would watch his father patrol their territory, his head held high, his powerful roar echoing across the plains. He would see his mother fearlessly defend the pride from a pack of hyenas. He wanted to be just like them. He just didn't know how. One sunny afternoon, Leo was trying to practice his roar. He took a deep breath, puffed out his chest, and let out a tiny mew. He sighed. A wise old baboon named Rafiki, who was perched on a nearby baobab tree, chuckled softly. A mighty roar starts with a single breath. Little one, he called down. Leo looked up, startled. But I'm not mighty, he mumbled. I'm scared. Rafiki scrambled down the tree, his long tail swishing. Bravery isn't about not being scared, Leo, he said, his eyes twinkling with ancient wisdom. Bravery is about being scared and doing the right thing anyway. Leo wasn't sure what that meant. He just hung his head low that evening as the sun began to paint the sky in shades of orange and purple. A crisis fell upon the pride. Leo's best friend, a playful little cub named Mia, had been chasing a colorful butterfly. She'd wandered farther and farther away from the safety of the pride, right into a thorny thicket near the river. Suddenly, a cry for help pierced the calm evening air. It was Mia. She was trapped, her leg caught in the tangled, thorny vines. The grown-up lions heard her cries, but the thicket was on a steep, crumbly ledge right above the rushing river. It was too dangerous and unstable for a large, heavy lion to approach without causing a landslide. Panic set in. The lions paced back and forth, roaring in frustration, unable to reach her. Leo's heart hammered against his ribs. He was terrified. The roaring river, the sharp thorns, the growing darkness, every part of him screamed to run and hide. He could feel his legs shaking. But then he heard Mia's whimpering cries again. He looked at his friend, so small and helpless, and he remembered Rafiki's words. Bravery is about being scared and doing the right thing anyway. Something shifted inside Leo. His fear was still there, a cold knot in his belly. But another feeling was growing stronger, the need to help his friend. He was small and light. Maybe, just maybe, he could get to her where the bigger lions couldn't. Taking a deep breath, just like he did when he tried to roar, Leo started to move. He crept towards the thorny ledge, his paws carefully testing the loose ground. The other lions stopped their pacing and watched in stunned silence. "Leo, come back. It's too dangerous." His mother called out, her voice filled with worry. But Leo kept going. He focused on Mia. He ignored the sharp thorns that pricked his nose and snagged his fur. He ignored the scary sound of the river roaring below it. He just kept moving, one careful step at a time. The ground crumbled a little under his paws, sending pebbles tumbling into the water, but he held his balance. Finally, he reached Mia. She was crying, her eyes wide with fear. "Leo, you came," she whispered. "It's okay, Mia," Leo said, his voice surprisingly steady. "I'll get you out." He began to gnaw at the thick vine wrapped around her leg. It was tough and bitter, and his baby teeth ached. He pulled and chewed, pulled and chewed. The thorns scratched his face, but he didn't stop. Slowly, the vine began to fray. With one final, determined tug, it snapped. Mia was free. Carefully, Leo guided her back through the thorns, away from the treacherous edge. They scrambled back onto solid ground, right into the waiting legs of their parents. The entire pride erupted in joyous roars, but this time the roars weren't scary to Leo, they were a celebration. His mother licked his face, purring with relief and pride. His father nuzzled him, his deep rumble no longer a sound of fear, but of love and respect. "You were brave, my son," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Leo looked around at his family, at his safe and happy friend Mia, and at the wise old baboon Rafiki, who was giving him a knowing smile from his tree. He was still small, his roar was still a squeak. But in that moment, standing there with his chest puffed out, covered in scratches and dirt, Leo felt like the biggest, bravest lion on the whole savannah. From that day on, Leo was different. He wasn't fearless, he still got scared sometimes. But he understood that courage wasn't about the absence of fear. It was about finding something you care about more than your fear. He played with the other cubs, explored the savannah, and whenever he felt that old familiar tremble of fear, he would take a deep breath, remember his friend Mia, and take a brave step forward. And slowly but surely, his little squeak of a roar began to sound just a little bit more like his father's. The brave little lion was finally finding his voice. Thank you so much for joining us for this story. If you enjoyed Leo's adventure, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more tales from the wild. We love sharing these moments with you. Until next time, stay brave and take care.